It's just one of them days. It's just one of them days. It's welcome to another riveting edition of The Ghost and the Goat. I can always tell it's my Wednesday. Today's my hump day. Today's Tuesday. I welcome you to another riveting edition. But oh my god, today is just a cluster F word all day every day on Tuesdays. It's my most disgusting day at work. An awful staff meeting, technical difficulties. But with the grace and glory of the Get Haunted Network, which you will usually see me playing on. Oh my god, this smells amazing. I'll talk about that in a second. But because of some technical difficulties that we have been experiencing with the wonderful world of Facebook and StreamYard and their marriage, things have been kind of jittery lately on the Get Haunted Network. So tonight I am not connected, although I want to onto the Get Haunted Network. You'll see me on Facebook. You'll see me on the van down by the Riv, on the YouTube, on the Twitch, and the people, the good people at Good Haunted, Sarah and Ian and Courtney, they're putting it all over Facebook. So I want to thank them and all the rest of the people at Get Haunted. I'm probably forgetting some names. I forget names constantly. But anyway, it's all the good people down there and all that wonderful support and everything they do to help promote us, to give us podcasters, us little guys, a little bit of a platform to push our shit off of. So for that, I thank you. Keep doing what you guys do, and it's always a pleasure to be on the Get Haunted Network or on whatever else platform you're seeing me on. So, the Ghost and the Goat. I am the paranormal investigator. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to walk you into a wonderful world of paranormal stuff, whether it be ghosts, whether it be Bigfoot, whether it be the ET, whether it be I don't know any of that stuff, cryptids or the Men in Black. Or I'm not really big into conspiracy theories because I work in mental health and I like to try to just avoid that. But I like to introduce that, and the show was conceived with the idea that it would be a half ghost paranormal show and a half sports show. My co-host Bams has been on a health hiatus for a number of months now, trying to recover, trying to get better. Dude, whenever you're ready, come on back. We're in the heat of things in football. Oh my God, I got some terrible baseball news to talk about. I'm going to talk sports for maybe the first like 25 minutes of the show, and then I have a wonderful guest that I'm going to bring on tonight. He is a paranormal guy, to say the least. So, before I get into this evening's show, if you tune into any of my Van Down by the River podcast, other podcasts, which is currently another one, you would know that I do a little show by the name of Three Dudes Brews. Cue the beer. Hold on. I need to take a sip. I'm sorry. Oh my God, that's delicious. Oh my God, that's tremendous. Three Dudes Brews is a pre-recorded podcast that myself and two other gentlemen do, and we travel from different breweries around Rhode Island, Connecticut, New England, and hopefully beyond. And we drink their beer and we talk about great. We're not doing this to get drunk. We enjoy the tremendous craft that goes into making these amazing beers. And they don't make like a billion beers. You can't find this at any liquor store in the country. Most of them you have to travel to the brewery exclusively, and this one here is no exception. So we have the absolute pleasure of brewing with longtime friend Kyle Toss. He's been following me for a number of years. He was the assistant brewer at Line Cider, owned by Jeremy. I forgot his last name, and Dan Copen of the New England Patriots. They sold out, and he took over the business, and they reopened a couple weeks ago. Jeremy, he did a collab with little old me and the other two dudes, Ed and Costas, and we did Crafted Hope. This is Rhode Island. If you don't know, you educate yourself. This is Rhode Island Anchor, the hop right there. It's a beautiful thing. Have a little hop, have a little hope, but with a hop right in the middle of it. This beer right here is their porter, our collab. It's a chocolate porter. It's a Snickers porter. It's like chocolate. Hold on. Oh, it's all chocolate around my lips and in my mouth. And now as it's going down the back of my throat, I can taste the caramel and the nuts. The complexities of these drinks, it's just something to be said. You could have like 4 or 5 of these too. They're only like 5% alcohol by volume. I call them crushable. Don't drive a car after you do it, just because I said so. But anyway, really great beer. If you're ever in Rhode Island, if you're in the New England area, stop down at Crafted Hope. Get a Three Dudes in a Brew. Three Dudes in a Brew. Oh, Three Dudes Brews. Check us out where we just released our episode 6. We did a show last Saturday at oh God, Tower Hill Brewery. They're a new brewery down in South County Commons, right there on Route 1 in South Kingston, right down by URI, right down by the beaches. You're stuck in traffic on your way to the beach. Stop in the brewery, grab a beer. They got 14 of them. 14. They have a brew style for every taste, every palate. They even have seltzers for, they're not so beery drinkers. So stop on down there. It's a 5,000 square feet. It's huge. It's beautiful. They can rent the hall, all that good stuff. Great guys down there too, by the way. John, he's there. He's their brewmaster. John does beautiful things with grains and hops. So check them out. Check out episode 6. We should be cracking that one, hopefully just before Christmas. Ed, we know you can do it, dude. We know you can do it. So if you want to treat yourself, moving on in a different topic, if you're from the Rhode Island area, or if you're from the Massachusetts, or if you're from any state in New England, really, you'll know. Oh, wait, actually, before I get into that, really quick. So, Three Dudes Brews, we're we're doing a fundraiser. We're raising money for the Hasbro Children's Hospital. If we raise $1,000, this is our GoFundMe link. If we raise $1,000 to donate to the Hasbro Children's Hospital in Providence, Rhode Island, the three of us will adorn various forms of swimwear, and we will dive into the icy waters of the Atlantic Ocean right here off the beautiful Rhode Island coast on sunny, hopefully it's sunny, January 1st, 2025. So Costas has a mankini that he's going to wear. Ed has got, I think Ed's going to skinny dip. He was in the service, so that begins that. And I am going to probably adorn like a vintage 1920s with the straw hat, maybe. I'm going to drink a ton of these in the parking lot between like 10 and 12 and really build up some courage. Go dive into the Atlantic on New Year's Day with the dudes. We're going to raise $1,000 for the kids. And then I'm going to go home and take a nap, and I'm going to go to work. It's going to be a beautiful event, so check that out. I'm going to run that through the course of the show. Three Dudes Brews. Check us out. We're on Facebook. We're on if you follow the Van Down by the Riv podcast channel on YouTube, you can find Three Dudes Brew on there. We have 6 episodes, like I said, little specials, little tidbits, little bits of us drinking beers and having fun. So it's a good time. Check it out. This is the Crafted Brew, Crafted Hope. This is where they're at. They're on the South County Trail. Follow the South County Trail. And if you are from Rhode, like I was saying, if you're from Rhode Island, New England, any of the New England states, really, nowadays it's like 10 years ago, I shunned it. Like I'd go to a party and someone say, "Hey, you want to try some brownies?" I'm like, "I don't know what kind of brownies." Those kind of brownies, buddy. I'm like, you never knew what you're gonna get, right? Sometimes you eat a brownie and be like, I could eat like 4 more of these things, and sometimes you would, and then you wouldn't know your own name for 4 days. So it probably wasn't the safest way, but nowadays here in around New England, we have these lovely dispensaries, and we have these lovely laws that govern marijuana dispensaries and goods and whatnot. A good friend of mine, my stepsister-in-law, she founded her business. She's took her amazing culinary skills and she married them with her incredible knowledge of medical marijuana, and it's tremendous benefits for various medical causes and whatnot. And they grew their own stuff. I guess I got to show you that too. Huh? All right, I'll show you the pictures. I'll just run through these pictures. So this is this is in a jar, right? Obviously, it's in a jar. Those are like oatmeal cookies. I'm gonna read off her ad. I feel like a jerk doing it like this. I got a whole ad prepared, believe it or not. So again, you can hook up with her on Facebook. They grew all their own strains this summer. No pesticides were used. Strain 1 is Joker's. It's an indica dominant hybrid, 22% THC. Strain 2 is a Concord Rose. It's a lovely hybrid, indica dominant. All of my cookies, that's Kim. I am going to have on the menu this week around 40 to 50% THC per cookie. For Buddy, I can handle like 60, and anything more than that, yeah, you probably eat like a cookie or 2 and don't do anything for the rest of the day. She generally charges $15 per 3 cookies or 3 whatevers. Different prices, obviously, for each. She's located in North Smithfield, and like any other Rhode Islander, is willing to travel about 20 to 30 minutes to deliver. Anything beyond that, she's going to want to ship to you. Shipping would be an extra $15 or so. She accepts cash on delivery or Venmo. She takes special orders by request for any budget, sugar-free options. She also uses and sells infused coconut oil, which I'll have you a picture for you in a moment, infused butter by the stick or pound, and infused honey, which is really delightful for your tea or for your, just for your palate, or for your meat. I mean, dude, Costas, imagine doing a mead with an infused honey with oh my god, dude. Anyway, I digress. This week's menu is pistachio white chocolate chip cookies infused with jokers, sugar-free zucchini bread infused with jokers, sugar-free peanut clusters infused with Concord Rose, Christmas cookies infused with jokers, flourless peanut butter oatmeal cookies, and for Santa, some chocolate chip infused jokers, some infused butter, and infused deliciousness. These are those are our plants. I helped tie those up. So this rope here is like at 6 feet high. These things are like 10 feet high. In Rhode Island, you can grow like so many plants now. It's fantastic. That's zucchini bread. Those are some cookies for Santa. That's our honey. Look at the Christmas tree in the background. It's so delightful. Check out all our stuff. Our butter, you can go check her out on our Facebook page. Tell her that Buddy sent you. Tell her that you saw Buddy's ad on the Ghost and the Goat. Maybe she'll give you a Buddy discount. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. But I digress. So I'm not going to digress any further. I'm just going to work my way into sports. So you can see I'm a Dolphins fan. I don't know if you can see that. I'm a Dolphins fan. So I already know defeat and loss and upset and oh my god. And what makes it even worse is not this beer. Is the fact that I've been a Dolphins fan since probably I was like 7 or 8 years old. But I like came out of the womb knowing nothing but the Boston Red Sox, knowing nothing but defeat and loss and almost getting there, and then just not making it, like going right through your legs almost, Bill Buckner, like that. Or like thinking when oh my god, you're just about to defeat the evil empire, and friggin' Aaron Boone hits one off of Timmy Wakefield. Oh, such heartbreak. Well, in the last 20 years, I've known some good years with my Boston Red Sox, but in the last 6, oh my god, since that 2018 World Series appearance where they won that last one, it just hasn't been cool. In Boston, we have like our leadership just doesn't give a shit. They went after Juan Soto. They've been courting Juan Soto, the outfielder for the evil empire, and the hitting machine that he is. And they were in the run with the Mets, and they were in the run with the Skankies, and they were in the run with I think the Dodgers, of course, were involved. And we threw he was like a big Sox fan during like the 04 Cowboy Up, all that, they probably played the Netflix series for him. He cried like a baby, like I did. And in the end, he signed for $45 million over 15 years with the goddamn Mets. So, good for you guys. You're not going to afford anything else for the next decade because you have one of the best hitters locked in for the entirety of the rest of his career. So good for you guys. Then which made it even more worse today. It was announced about an hour, maybe 2 hours ago over local EEI radio that the friggin' Yankees signed Max Fried. So we as Red Sox, we picked up a studio. Oh God, oh Christ. I can't even remember his last name. Middle relief. He was really good like a decade ago. Yeah, he's okay now, I guess. He might be a closer. I'm kind of glad we didn't sign Juan Soto because that's a whole ton of money we could throw into like 2 really good pitchers, but just not one because they re-signed with our rival. There's a few pitchers left that are like halfway decent, but don't anticipate anything great from the Red Sox. Nobody wants to play there. They are a dumpster fire, slowly burning, and yeah, it's a rehash of my childhood. So anyway, that's what's going on in baseball. Nothing if you're a Red Sox fan. If you're a football fan, things are starting to like wind down in the season, but oh my god, the games are really heating up. So last week was no exception whatsoever. The Monday night game was incredible. The Dolphins game, oh my god, almost had a heart attack like 4 times. They ended up winning. I ended up going nuts. I was working as a group home running around the house. And even though my Dolphins dreams are holding on by a slim thread right now, we're gonna try and go for it. We gotta win every game. I'm gonna have an ulcer by the end of the season, and if not pancreatitis from the loads of beer that I'm gonna throw down my throat watching my Dolphins hold on to any kind of glory whatsoever. But I digress again. So I'm going to start off right Thursday night. We start the week off with this is going to be a great game. The LA Rams traveled to San Francisco to play the 49ers. The NFC West has been anybody's game all season long. Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Arizona Cardinals, they've all been on top. They've all not on top. All of them have a chance to win the division. They all kind of suck. No, they don't suck. They're decent teams. They're good enough teams. San Francisco has a lot of pride. LA Rams just had a really unbelievable, holy shit victory against the Buffalo Bills. That was a game. That was a great game. Like almost, I think it was over 100 points scored combined. It's just like what a great game. So a lot of people were saying, "Nah, San Fran. I've been picking San Fran. I got 9 wins last week. I'm not taking my chances. LA's been on fire. San Fran beat up. It is Shanahan, but I don't know. At home, I think the Rams are gonna the Rams are not favored, so they're gonna get points. So if you're bidding with the points, go with the Rams. They played some incredible football in Buffalo against Buffalo. Anyway, I digress. Moving on, the Kansas City Chiefs and Taylor Swift traveled to Cleveland this week to play a resurging Browns team. Russ Stiver. This is like one of those paranormal things, like Cleveland Browns. They're terrible. They're great. They're terrible. They're great. I don't know. You're the investigator. You check them out. You're that fan. Jamie Winston's been throwing for over 400 yards a game. He's doing all sorts of good stuff. Their defense is coming alive. They beat the Steelers. I mean, they lost to the Steelers this weekend, but they beat the Steelers a few weeks ago. They're having good football games. They're playing good football. Kansas City has been winning some stupid games. They were tied. They kicked the winning field goal in the last seconds of the game Sunday. It dinked or doinked off the field goal. The goal post and went in, and they won the game in the last end, just like that, dink, and it went right in. Other games they same thing. They just hit the ending. They've had so many games like this where they've been like back and forth, or they are not against great teams either. So I don't know. Part of me wants to say take Cleveland. The other side, the NFL is not going to let Taylor Swift lose a game. So points take Cleveland, money line take Kansas City. Cincinnati travels to Tennessee. Tennessee was the one game that I lost in my parlay last week that ruined my entire parlay. I would have won like $750 off a $5 bet, but because Tennessee sucks consistently, and they're not gonna. Cincinnati put up a whole lot of points. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. I mean, this is not a whole lot of a better combination. These guys have been playing football together for not just 2 or 3 years in the NFL. They played for 4 years at LSU, and they were like on point at LSU. Then they brought it to the NFL, and they're still on point. They just play for a crappy organization. Expect the Cincinnati Bengals to definitely win this one. Because Tennessee sucks. Washington, speaking of LSU quarterbacks, the Washington Commanders take the show on the road to New Orleans. Jalen Daniels started the season off like remarkably hot. He cooled down a little bit, but then they let things up again last week and they scored a whole shit ton of points. New Orleans is nothing special. They started special for like the first 4 games, and they haven't been Washington Commanders all day. The Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, after that defeat last week, his mama was saying he's off. The coach was saying he's off. Everybody in the media is saying he's off. He's going to come back, and they're playing the New Jersey Giants, who are like, they suck. Baltimore is going to light up the Giants. It's going to be like a 45-9 game. They're going to like take all their frustration and all their anger out on the Meadowlands. And they're going to take a big old dump on New Jersey. So take Baltimore all day. Don't even think twice about it. A team that you could think twice about is always the Dallas Cowboys, who muffed another chance at another. They had the game. They had it locked up. All they had to do was not fuck up on a punt. And they like reminded of Leon Lett like 25 years ago. Like, what do you do? The one time I picked Dallas, not in the money pool, in the office pool, and why? What are you thinking, dude? So Dallas screwed it up against Cincinnati and lost another game. They traveled to Carolina this week. Carolina's been playing some better football since what's his name? Young. Well, I think this is his last name. Since he got benched, and they said they're moving on from him. Screw him. And they put in what's his name? Like the 16-year veteran, the redhead, the ginger. I don't know. His name escapes me. The ginger was playing for a while, then he sucked, and then they put Young back in, and now he's like playing some football. It's like, oh, where have you been? Welcome to the game. So while they're not winning all these games, they're putting up some points. They're playing some football. So playing a team like Dallas at home, who sucks and who everybody, including myself, loves to watch lose, I'm going to pick the Carolina Panthers. Dumpster fire. Speaking of the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL, the New Jersey Jets travel to Jacksonville to play yet another dumpster fire in Northern Florida. Yeah, I'm going to say the Jets because they played a tough game against my Dolphins last week, or maybe my Dolphins were just slacking 3/4 of the game. But Jacksonville's another one of those teams where there's nothing really good happening. Mac Jones is like the best thing. If you let Mac Jones beat you, Aaron Rodgers, dude, just hang it up in the locker room. Don't even go on the media. Don't even say, hey, I'm gonna just take your shit off, get in your car, and go home and check out, dude. Because that's all I gotta say. My Miami Dolphins hope to keep their playoff hopes alive and travel to Houston. I know it's not the biggest thing right now because, I don't know, because he's not like a superstar, but it's my quarterback Tua came back from 7 weeks out and he's still got the number 1 completion rate in the NFL. This guy's on fire. He has the best anticipation. Anyone in the NFL, without him, they are absolute trash. With him, they're showing some promise. I don't know. Their defense is starting to play defense. Their running game is they're not dropping the ball anymore. I don't know. Tyreek's catching balls. Waddle's catching balls again. Jonnu Smith, who played for the New England Patriots, who you guys didn't know who to play. We're playing in Miami with a tight end. This hasn't happened in years. Well, Gesicki maybe a little, but they didn't really like him that much. And Jonnu Smith is like the number 4 receiver in Miami. It's like, wow, who is this guy? And I love him because he caught the game-winning reception against New Jersey last week. So with my heart, I'm going to pick Miami. With my head, they can beat the Texans. The Texans have a terrible O-line. They give up the second most sacks in the league so far. Second to Jacksonville, also sucks. And C.J. Stroud just has not been the same this year as he was last year. Their defense has been giving up a lot of run yards. The Dolphins have a good running game. Go Miami, fins up. Our playoff hopes stay alive. To help our playoff hopes, the Indianapolis Colts, who we're tied with in the hunt, travels to Denver, who holds the last wild card game in the last wild card position in the playoffs. There's 3 this year. Denver, Bo Nix is pretty believable. He's pretty good. He's good for you, dude. You're having a good rookie year. But I hope you lose terribly, and I hope the Colts lose. I don't know if there's a way they can both lose. That'd be great. But if the Dolphins win and Denver loses, then we slide closer to that playoff spot. So, well, I say go Colts. I know the Colts probably aren't going to do it because Denver has a so good. Yeah, I picked Denver. The game of the week right here. Buffalo's going to come back. They're traveling to Detroit, the number 1 team in the NFL. Detroit has everything going for them. Nothing looks bad. Head to toe. Pretty nifty uniforms. They finally have a team that's going to do something. Buffalo, I feel the same. Despite their awful loss, not that awful loss, it was really close, but their disappointing loss last week. I think this could be a preview of the Super Bowl right here. These are 2 of my choices for the Super Bowl early on the season. So, who I picked Detroit. I don't think Buffalo can hang that long, but maybe they can. Who knows? It's in Detroit. They're very close. There's not a whole ton of home field advantage here, but yeah, I'm gonna go to Detroit. Sorry, Harry. Pittsburgh. This is another good game. Pittsburgh travels to Philly. Russell Wilson, while he was slinging some really good passes for a while, he took a few weeks off, and then he got beat up a little bit. Then he came back with a vengeance, and he's traveling to Philly. Philly's won 7 games in a row, 8 games in a row, and they had just Well, Nick Sirianni was like talking a lot of junk to the coaches, the fans earlier in the season, making a real ass of himself. They kind of pulled it together, and they're the number 2 seed in the NFC right now. If it's for the points, I'd say Pittsburgh because they're probably not favored, and it's probably going to be close. I would say Philly's going to take it though with the money line. New England, a game that's not going to be close. The New England Patriots travel to Arizona. Arizona's offense hasn't been performing tremendous in the last few weeks because they play great teams, but they're hosting a really not great team this week. Well, New England has been showing some promise in the last few weeks. That's still shitty. Arizona all day. Tampa Bay travels to LA Chargers. This is going to be a good game too. LA Chargers while they lost this past week in a close game, they have like everything cooking on offense and defense. Tampa Bay has a really solid offense. Traveling to LA, I'm going to pick the Chargers in this one. I don't think Mike. I don't think his name's Mike. I don't know. They quarterback Tampa Bay. I don't think he can sling enough against Hebert. I think it'll be the Chargers. The Green Bay Packers. This could be like right now if the NFL season ended and the playoffs started. This would be the first wild card game. The Green Bay Packers travel to Seattle. Well, Seattle's been clicking. They're led by Geno Smith, and like Geno Smith has had a resurgence since he left New Jersey, but he's just not. I think I don't know. Green Bay has been beat 4 times this season, and they've been beat by the 3 best teams in the NFL: Detroit, Minnesota, and somebody else, maybe Kansas City. I don't know. And they click, and they look dominant over my amazing Dolphins. So, even though they're traveling to Seattle, this is not the loudest stadium in the NFL anymore. This is not Richard. This is not Sherman Island. You're not going to Sherman Island anymore. This is like Geno Smith running the show. So yeah, I pick Green Bay all day against Seattle, whether it's the playoffs or not. The Chicago Bears travel to Minnesota. This is an NFC North divisional game. This would normally be a good game, but Chicago sucks. Caleb Williams is nothing what everybody projected him to be. He's playing some decent football. He's got no team around him. He's going to Minnesota, they're dominating everything right now. Another ex-Jet quarterback in Minnesota that's just so much better playing not in New Jersey. Imagine that. And the last game of the week, Monday, we have 2 Monday night games this week. That's the first one on at 8:30. The Atlanta Falcons take their not so great pass rush offense to Las Vegas. I don't know. People are saying Las Vegas might win this one. Atlanta started hot, but they kind of sluggish a little bit now, and Vegas is starting to heat up for what reason I'm not sure. So money line, I'm going to go Vegas. Points, I'm going to go Vegas. Those are my picks of the week. I hope the Dolphins win. That's all I got to say. I could care less about everything else. I just want to see my Dolphins just bring the game. I don't know. If not, it's going to be a long. Oh, Notre Dame's my other team. Notre Dame's number 4, and that we're going to be in the college football playoffs starting set. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a Boston fan. I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm used to loss and failure. So on to the next season. Speaking on to the next, we're going to move on to. We're going to change gears. We're going to go to the paranormal really quick. Hold on. Let me take. I just need some. Fantastic. Love it. Our guest tonight, we were originally slated to have 2 guests on. Our guest, Nathaniel Elwell, had a last minute debacle. Somebody crashed into a pole up the road and they lost power. And dude, I get it. Shit happens all the time, especially to me. I am terrible with Wi-Fi. I am terrible. If you've seen any of my shows here, you know that I am like 25 to 3 versus the internet, and the internet is way the hell ahead of me. So just, it's cool. It's all right. I had a backup. I had another guy. Tonight's other paranormal guest. He's a longtime paranormal investigator. He's from the lovely state of Indiana. He is the director of the Ind8ana Riverbend Paranormal Society. I'm sorry. I'm Tim. I'm not really sure. Please welcome to the show. Thank you for your patience. T-Dog Tim Kummer. Hey Tim, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How's things out there in Indiana, dude? How's the weather out there?
It's cold, and we ain't got too much snow yet, but it's down in freezing temperatures for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, hey, it's
So
the same ride. I'm a summer kid. I just put on socks like last week because I was still trying to embrace the last of
right.
the good. I hate the winter completely.
Yeah,
Um,
you and me both, brother.
yeah, right. So, how long you been doing? How long you been in the paranormal, Tim? How long you been doing this for?
Uh, r-
What got you
roughly
into it?
roughly about 25 years.
Hmm.
As far as what got me into it,
Yeah,
well, growing up, I'd always hear stories from family and friends about different experiences they were having, from
yep,
time to time. And I never had any experiences, so I was kind of like jealous. I wanted to have some experiences of my own, so I
of course.
seeked out and start investigating to try to have experiences on my own, and I've had quite a few over the last 25 years. So
Yes.
I have stories to tell and share to my friends and family, and they're jealous of the stories I got and the locations that I'm able to investigate in the different states all across the U.S. that I get to go see and check out. It's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
no, that's pretty interesting. What now? Um, in talking to like mediums and whatnot, and talking to people, friends of mine who are into this, it seems like some people like are almost genetically inclined to have experiences, or maybe like can open themselves up to it eventually. But it seems like it almost runs in the family. Do you find this is what being from a family of paranormal folks? Do you find it almost like not like an ability? I don't like to say it's an ability because I don't have any ability. I'm
Right.
just like and maybe a little bit more in tune with myself. But I mean, do you find that it's like it's more closely related to genetics than what are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I can see that. Yeah, I mean, but to be honest with me, for a while there, like over the last few years, have heightened up a lot more for me
Hmm.
compared to years before that. I mean, I've gotten more in tuned with locations. I mean, I've even had some of my teammates over the years call me a paranormal cock block because it seemed like things didn't happen when I was around.
Oh boy.
So a few years ago, I decided to try to switch things up and do differently on my end, and I started what I call my fear challenge,
Oh,
which is when I go to these locations and my teammates or the staff, whoever may be there, will pick out the most active area in that location for me to get chained up and blindfolded in,
oh God.
and
I
I'll
think
sit
it's
there.
open to this.
Yeah, I'll sit there for like an hour, and I'll have a cameras watching me and recorder and multiple devices around the area that I'm in, in case anything triggers any of the devices.
Mhm.
Um, I'll just basically do a long lasting EVP session in the dark, blindfolded, chained up with all these devices around me. And to date, I've probably done about 50 different locations and probably about 70 challenges altogether.
Oh wow.
But my reason for doing it was because I was having problems. Hey, Courtney, how you doing, sis?
She's
I was
awesome. I love
having
Lily.
problems with interaction. I wasn't getting a lot of things happening for myself.
Yep.
So I figured, what can I do to try to get better interaction with spirits? So I
Hmm.
figured I would start this challenge that I do, and not because I'm trying to be tough or anything like that, but because if I can show that the spirits that I'm vulnerable and that I don't mean them any harm, maybe they'll come interact with me more.
Yep.
And since I've been doing that, I've been getting more interaction. I've not only doing my challenges, but with my other investigating, and it's heightened up a lot of things over the last 5 or 6 years where I've actually had a lot more experiences.
Oh, I
Now,
bet.
my mom is sensitive and has some abilities,
Hmm.
but it kind of skipped past me. If I have anything at all, the only thing I can say that comes to me sometimes is weird smells out of nowhere. I'll smell
Yeah.
cigar smoke,
Yep.
perfumes, or whatnot. But
Yep.
I don't have any other ability than that. If you want to call that an ability, that's one thing I really pick up on every now and then.
Right. Right. My mother is my mother will see people that are there one minute and go on the next.
Right, and
It's
that's how
sporadic, and
that's how
my mother's legally blind, so
right.
for her to be able to
Right,
see somebody that clearly,
right,
is absolutely incredible. Because she can sometimes barely make out my face,
right,
in the full form. So I mean, it's and some of the people that she's described, it just sounds like pictures I've seen of you. Because we live in a house that was built by my grandparents. So to see like people like that, it's just like Like, oh, that sounds like Uncle Ray, like in the 1940s before he went to the war, or that sounds like Pop when he was like, when he was playing baseball or he was a boxer. It's just like wow, it's so weird how you would see that, and but
Yeah, it's
it's amazing.
fascinating.
It's amazing.
Definitely
It's
fascinating.
really fascinating. So let me ask you, in all these fear challenges that you've done, Tim, what's the scariest one? What's the most active one you've ever been to, or all right, the scariest? When have you been the scariest?
All
The
right.
most scary.
Well, I can honestly tell you, I've done a lot of them, and some of the locations I've done them in that I really would think would be just mind blowing
Hmm.
have been big letdowns.
Like
But
what?
uh, Bobby Mackey's, I did
Yeah,
one
yeah.
down in the basement of Bobby Mackey's, right
Oh
next to the
wow,
portal of hell.
dude, that's
Thinking,
balls. I've heard
and I was
horror
hyped
stories.
up, thinking, "Oh, this is
Yeah,
going to be crazy." And man, it was just so quiet, in there. I was very disappointed.
that's too
But I've
bad.
always told everybody I have more fun hanging out with Bobby and hearing his stories and just shooting the shit and hanging out with him
Hmm.
than I do investigating there. I mean, it's an active location, but as far as my challenge go, it was just so quiet and so disappointing. I mean, this is Bobby Mackey's. I was expecting some activity, and it was just so quiet.
Hmm. That's too bad.
But
Hey, Bobby Mackey's is closed down now. Is it
yeah, they,
not?
they actually just tore it down today. They had the
Oh,
excavators out
oh
there tearing
wow.
it down today. Yeah.
Oh, that's too
Uh,
bad.
he's going to rebuild at some point on the same
Okay.
property, but the building was just in such bad condition, and too many health codes and
Oh, of
different things
course.
going on, fire codes and stuff. They had
Hmm.
to go ahead and tear it down. That was the best option, for the
Oh, of
place.
course. Safety first.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, right. So
yeah.
what is the stuff that didn't let you down so much? That was like, oh my god, that was
Well,
crazy.
just recently, earlier in the year, matter of fact, I had my craziest fear challenge ever. I was at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Oh, nice.
It's probably 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And if you've never been there, this place is huge. It's
I've never
two,
been.
240,000 square foot or, or,
Oh,
or, or bigger, something like that.
wow.
So the people I were with decided they wanted to put me in a criminally insane ward, which is a ward on the complete other side of the building, away from everything else. It's got its own locks and doors,
Hmm.
away from all the rest of the patients. And they put me in there, and I got 3 different cameras watching me, and
Hmm.
recorders and multiple devices laid out everywhere. And so they leave me,
Hmm.
and I'm sitting there for probably the first half an hour, and it's just absolutely quiet. I'm just doing my thing. I'm going through my routine, asking questions relating to the location and the history of the location. And then out of nowhere, this weird wind effect came rolling through the area that I was in. Now, mind you, I'm secluded from the rest of the building,
Yep.
and this weird wind effect was coming through, and it sounded like there was voices within this wind or this howling effect, however you want to put it.
Hmm.
And during this time, and this lasted uh, right under 8 minutes, I believe. It lasted like 7 minutes and 52 seconds
Wow.
during this time period. And things were being banged around. You could hear doors slamming or something banging on the walls or something. So for almost an 8 minute period of time, I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing this howling effect. I'm hearing banging, like doors slamming or something banging on the walls all around me in this area that I'm in. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Where'd all this come from out of nowhere? And I'm trying to keep my cool because I'm on camera. I'm mentioning everything that's going on. I'm talking
Hmm.
about it. Hey, do you guys hear this banging? Do you hear this? Do you hear
Right.
that? And I'm almost just like at the edge of my seat, like, what? Someone's about to come in here and fuck me up. I'm screwed. I'm chained to a fucking chair and blindfolded. I can't see.
Yeah,
And,
that's a little scary. Yeah.
so so this happens for about an 8 minute period of time, and I mean, it had me on the edge of my seat, bro. It
The
was it was
longest 8 minutes of your life,
yeah,
I bet,
it
right?
was
Yeah.
pretty intense.
Oh god.
So after it stopped, about 15 minutes later, they come in and get me, and they asked, "Well, how was it?" I'm like, "Well, why were you guys messing with me for?" And they're like, "What are you talking about? We wouldn't do that during your first challenge." I was like, "Well, what was all the banging noise and all the voices and the wind and howling effect?"
I didn't hear
I
anything.
don't know. They said we were out front by the main entrance having a cigarette. We weren't even in the building.
Yep. Yep.
So I was like, so was it windy outside then? Did it get real windy outside where you guys were out there? No, it wasn't windy at all. So I'm just like, well, what the fuck happened? What was going on there? I can't explain it to this day. What was happening? I got video of it and audio of it. I haven't actually put it out there and put it together for evidence yet
Yep.
because I've been so busy this year. But yeah, the most freaking crazy challenge I've ever done, brother. And it was at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in a criminally insane ward.
Wow.
Absolutely just mind blowing. I mean, and I still can't wrap my head around what was going on.
Yep. Yep.
I did talk to one of the caretakers there, or one of their people that help out with things, a tour guide or whatever.
Yep.
And she said, well, they used to chain people up in that ward, and maybe the spirits were angry that you were chained up, so they were acting out. They seen that you were chained up and they were acting out, didn't like what was going on, and maybe they were acting out because of that. I mean,
Maybe could be like, hey, it's a new guy. Let's mess with the new guy.
right? That could
It
be
could be
too.
something. Yeah. I tell you, man, I worked in a forensic unit, which is like what you would call for the criminally insane up in Massachusetts.
Mhm.
The only one in Massachusetts. So everybody who said that they were mentally ill when they committed a crime, they went there for evaluation, and then they committed people for year after year after year after year that weren't ready. They were just all right. The charges get dropped, and you're not competent, but we are not releasing you to the general public because you are not safe. So they would stay there. Some of them were on the maxes. Some of them were on the minimal units. I happened to have the privilege of working there for 6 years and be out on the maxes the
Oh
entire
well.
time, which was quite the holy shit mental health experience on one side, and then you see the worst of the worst people, the malingerers, the people who would take it in advantage, say, "Hey, I'm crazy, just get out of prison," because they can't hack it in prison. And they
Yep.
come there, and they're the biggest assholes ever. But yeah, it's such an energy shift when you walk into this place and when you walk out of it.
I
Um,
bet.
not even I mean, not even maybe the people who have died there because there have been, but people who killed themselves, people killed by DOC. But just that energy, that living energy. Do you feel that as living beings that we have an energy that our energy affects paranormal encounters? Do you feel that anything about that?
Yeah, I believe everybody has a different kind of energy, and how it proceeds with the paranormal is different for each individual person. But yeah, I
Hmm.
definitely think we got an energy because I mean, we're born with energy and we die with energy,
Hmm.
more or less. So I mean, yeah, I think that makes a big difference in what we do and how we do it. With the
Sure,
energy that we
sure.
hold. I mean, some people's got a lot more intense energy than others. Obviously, like I was explaining earlier. I mean, for a while there, my energy seemed either low or something for years because I just didn't get the interaction that everybody else did. I had experiences, but it just wasn't on the level compared to some of my other teammates. So
Yeah, right. Everybody sees it differently for sure.
yeah.
So speaking of energy, we have all these being investigators. We have all these options for tools for devices that
Mhm.
sense energy, that pick up energy. Do you feel that one is better than another? Do you have any like you're going to the Trans Allegheny? What are you bringing with you and why?
Okay. Well, typically, I'm pretty old school when it comes to devices and what I use. I try to use anything that's going to give me the least false positives,
Yep.
as much as I can get.
Like what?
Um,
Like what do you think? What do you think of those?
I like to just keep it simple. I obviously use the video cameras with night vision and
Yep.
infrared on it, recorders. My favorite piece of equipment, and it has been for the last few years, has been my EDI meter. I just
Well,
have,
I think I've used one. What can you explain what that is?
yeah, it's a little device. It has 5 functions. It has a motion
Mhm.
sensor on it, uh, millimeter. I mean, it picks up on, yeah,
Milligauss. Yeah, the
yeah,
Milligauss.
millivolts, and then it has a humidity,
Mm.
pressure sensor, and there's
Yep.
one more. What's the last one? I can't remember the last one. It's got 5 different sensors in one
Like
device.
temperature, like a temperature gauge, or
Temperature,
like
yes,
yeah.
temperature. That's what the other one is. So, and I've used it frequently on multiple investigations over the last few years.
Yep.
And it, and then it, and it, the good thing about it is, no, it doesn't go off all the time. It doesn't
Mhm.
give me a bunch of stuff all the time. So I feel like it is, when it does go off, it's going off for a reason of whatever, whether the pressure changes in the area that I'm in, or
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten the vibration to go up a couple of times from down the hallway from me, like something was getting too close to it. And so I'm pretty picky about what I do use, because if I'm putting something out there for people to see and to try to present as evidence, or
Yeah.
hey, this is what happened, what do you think about it?
You don't want to look like a schmuck.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Hundred
So I mean,
percent, dude. I hear you.
because you got those classic REM pods, the circle REM pods that a lot of
Mhm.
people are very fond of. And I've been on so many investigations with people that use those REM pods, and they're just going crazy. And
Mhm.
and when the batteries start going low, they're just going off and going nuts. And I think they create a lot of false positives for people.
Yep.
So I myself try to stay away from you know those particular REM pods. Um,
Another area of controversy, of course, will always be the spirit box. Do you use the spirit box? What are your thoughts on the spirit box?
No, I don't. I don't. I'm not really big on ITC devices. I have
Hmm.
lots of friends in the field that are absolutely just, crazy about them. Now,
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I've from time to time I've seen some crazy stuff come through on
absolutely.
a spirit box. Um, but it's just not my thing. I don't use apps. I don't use the spirit boxes.
No, I don't. I don't like apps at all. It's completely
It's just,
no.
again, it's not something I can scientifically prove. I can't take that to a professional and say, "Hey, listen to this. Let me know what you think."
Right,
He's going to say, "Well, I can't prove that that was any more than something that's coming through the radio." He
right.
can't prove
Even
that.
though it's like so, oh my god, coincidental that like through like 14 stations and saying, "Hey, fuck you, buddy." That's probably not going to happen with the
Right,
FCC and all that stuff. But yeah, you can't really say for sure
right.
that they didn't coordinate that somehow or get mixed up in the radio waves or yeah.
But I mean,
But
I got friends that swear by him, and like I said, I've had some good experiences. Probably one of the
oh,
more
absolutely.
funnier ones. We were in Ohio at some haunted school out there. It wasn't Post Town
Hmm.
Middle School. It was another school out there in Ohio, and I was invited to come out. And towards the end of the night, well, I don't know if I should say it on here. Just put it this way: there was a volunteer there that had been smoking all night long,
Oh
and I'm
boy.
not talking about just cigarettes. And
Yeah, well, if you saw
and
the
I'm like,
first half of my show, then you
and
understand.
I'm
Yeah,
just like, okay, to each their own. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's none of my business. Whatever. So towards the end of the night, we were all in one of the top rooms upstairs, and they were using some kind of spirit box up there. I don't remember what kind it was. Maybe an echo box or something where it echoed, and it started talking, and we're asking questions, and out of nowhere, it brought this guy's name up.
Hmm.
It said, "What do you think of Mike?" And through the spirit box, I swear to you, it said Mike's a pothead. And this is the same guy that had been smoking all night while we were there. He'd dip in and out and smoke a little bit and then come back in.
Yep.
And brother, everybody caught it on camera. Everybody caught it on audio. We all heard it with our own ears, and we were just laughing our asses off because this
It's
guy has
very
been there for
specific.
multiple years helping
Yeah.
out with the location. And for the spirit box to come out and say Mike's a pothead was just so funny, and such an intelligent response, being that he had been smoking all night. I mean, it just had me cracking up. I mean, that's probably one of the best pieces of, and I'm not I guess to call it evidence, but best things I've ever heard come out of a spirit box. It was so on point, and it
Yeah,
was
for
just
sure.
funny as hell. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
For sure.
But I
Now,
got,
you get stuff like I don't know if you heard of Staticom. That's
yeah, well, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah. So that's no radio waves. It's just
yeah,
white noise. Have you
yeah.
experimented at all
I
with that?
haven't. I
No.
haven't. I know Lauren and them have done it quite a bit. I've watched quite a bit of their
Tony and
live.
Tony Rathman and yeah, and
Yeah,
those guys.
I've watched plenty of their videos. I mean, hell, they were down in a cave at one point where they weren't getting no signals at all, and they were still getting voices coming through. So I haven't seen it in person yet,
Right.
but what I've seen on their lives and their video feed, I'm pretty
Yeah.
intrigued
It's
by what they're doing.
It's pretty. I've had the opportunity to interview them like 3 or 4 times. We talked about it in detail, and before the spirit box ever like tempted me, I had one of those radios where you just take the transmitter on, and just, So we
Right,
get stuff to that. So that was interesting. But then spirit box was like, oh, let me move on. We kind of
right,
like experimented with that. We never went back. But then I got to see Tony and Lords and the Yacovetti there, and
Yeah, Ron,
down
and
in
yeah, yeah,
down in the four of them down in at the Gettysburg Bash last year, and I saw them do it in person, and it just is exactly what it sounds like. It's just like
yeah.
it's so fascinating. I'm like, I just want to
It seems like it. I hope
I
to
want to do
catch up with
this.
him one day and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I want to do this. So what wouldn't you ever bring on an investigation ever?
As far as equipment,
Yeah.
I've retired so much equipment over the years because I just felt like it was, giving me false positives.
Hmm.
Uh,
So like
you know,
Ouija boards.
I've never personally bought a Ouija board on an investigation before,
Hmm.
and not out of any kind of issue with it, but this not disrespect the location or the owners or the spirits there myself.
It's true. There's
Um,
a lot of hype that surrounds the Ouija, a lot of negative stuff
right.
that
I mean,
surrounds it.
I tampered around with it in my younger days as a teenager, and I
Mm.
just I haven't really thought about it or gave it any thought to bring it out. I mean, I was just talking to a buddy of mine earlier, and we got some things going on next year, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever tried using a Ouija board at a location?" I was like, "No." He's like, "What about a séance, or a
Mm.
scrying mirror?" And I'm like, "Well, I tried a scrying mirror once at an event that I was hosting with a couple of friends for a fundraiser
Hmm.
for a buddy that passed away from cancer, and
Oh,
I tried a scrying mirror once, and wasn't very successful. I wasn't picking up on anything or seeing anything. Um, but he's wanting to dab on that a little bit next year. I said, well, I don't know. We'll see what location that you decide you want to do it at, and maybe we can give it a little try. But I'm not that big on it. But if you want to do it, I'll try it with you. So we'll
right.
see how it goes. I mean,
Right.
I'm willing to try anything at least
Right.
once, but
Sure. Yeah.
you
Right.
know, but as long as we're being respectful about it, as far as the location and the spirits that are there, then
Yeah, it's got that bad voodoo and stuff, but I mean,
exactly,
I think it's just the same as every other method that we use, whether it be
of course,
EVP sessions or the flashlight. It could be just anything. It's just
of
like,
course,
oh, it's gonna open up a portal. Like, yeah,
right,
I
yeah,
can't put any
yeah.
credit into that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see. As you guys do just these like big name, definitely haunted. Like, you go like more ghost hunting, or is it more of are you try to debunk? Do you try and like investigate?
No, I definitely try to
Causes.
debunk as much as I can. I'm not,
Yeah.
I mean, as you know as well as I do, it's not like what you see on TV or YouTube and stuff
No.
like that.
No.
And I'm always screaming at the TV like, well, go figure out what it was. Go try to debunk it.
Right. Right.
So yeah, no, when we experience things, just recently, I think it was the night before Halloween, I was at a local theater to me. Well, it's about an hour away from me. Um, they asked me to come in and check the place out, and
Oh.
we were all in the basement of this theater. It was me and two other guys, and we had multiple devices sit on a stage, and we're down in the basement, and we're just trying to do an EVP session down there. But then we start hearing voices above us on the stage, and then the REM pod would go off, but it wasn't the circle kind. It's a
Hmm.
couple REM pods. I had some uh, paranormal peace make for me out there in the United Kingdom, and
Hmm.
I've had them for like 5 years, and they've probably went off 4 times in 5 years at at least 100 locations. They've only went off 4 times, and so we're hearing these voices that sound like a female and a male upstairs having a conversation right above us on the stage,
Yep.
and we're hearing the REM pod go off. And
Hmm.
but we're at the same time we're saying, I'm asking him, hey, are you guys hearing these voices, or am I hearing things? They're like, no, it's someone upstairs talking.
Hmm.
And the REM pods are going off, and we were just previously asking them, hey, if you're upstairs, can you walk across the stage and set some of our equipment off?
Nice.
So this REM pod were going off. They went off at least 3 times, but shortly after we heard the voices and the REM put off, one of them, I was like, I gotta go up there, guys. It almost sounds like somebody's upstairs, like someone came into the building. So
Hmm.
I go upstairs, and we got cameras watching us and the stage from the top side. And I go upstairs, and you can see me walk up there, and I'm looking around. I got the flashlight out. There's nobody in the building. I go over and test both REM pods that are on the stage, and they're 50 feet apart from each other,
Hmm.
just to make sure that they're not malfunctioning, because they haven't yet, but I got to make sure that they're not. And they're both working just like they should. If I get within 2 to 3 inches of them, they're going off.
Hmm.
They're not going off by me walking across the floor. You know, I tested everything to make sure. Uh, so I mean, just depending on what it is, yeah. I mean, I always try to debunk though. I'm always trying to debunk. I mean, Waverly Hills, for instance. Waverly
Yeah.
Hills is one of my favorite locations to go to, but the inside of the building, there's so much deterioration of the walls, paint's chipping off everywhere, this and that.
Yep.
And I've been there before, and walking down one of the hallways, and I'll see what looks to be like a figure standing down at the other end of the hallway, and I'm like, oh my god, guys, look at this, man. Well, you know what? Let's go check this out and see what it could be.
Hmm.
So we walk down to the other end of the hallway, and if you notice, a lot of time when people see figures down hallways, they're either against the wall or they're at the far end of the wall. They're not normally dead in the middle of the wall. They're
Right.
either against the wall or at the end of the hallway. So this particular one was at the end of the hallway next to one of the fire exits.
Hmm.
Like, all right, we got to go down here and check this out because it looks too good to be true. So we go down there to the end of the hallway, and next to the fire exit, that part of the wall to the right, the paint was chipping so bad. And if you were to look at it, if you were to shine a flashlight on it, it almost gives you the impression of a body figure of how it was tore out, how the paint looked and how it was chipped and,
Yep.
this and that. It almost looked like a figure down there.
Yep.
So what I did is I did a live while I was there just to uh, kind of help people realize, how pareidolia and how
Hmm.
it works. So I walked down this hallway and I took pictures and I had it on the live and I was showing these people, what's it look like down there? Does it look like someone standing down there? And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, man, that looks like there's a body down there. There's someone standing down there at the end of the hallway.
Yep.
And so I got people's opinions first, and then after a little bit, 5 minutes or whatever, people give me their opinions of what they thought was going on down there. I actually want to educate them and show them, oh, look,
Yep.
just because it looks like this doesn't mean it really is something down there. And I took them down there and I shined a flashlight and I described to them what they were seeing and why it looked like that. And they're like, oh my God, I never thought about that. And I'm like, well, that's why we debunk. That's why
Right.
when something seems too good or
Critical
seems
thinking. Yes.
unusual, we have to go check it out and see what it's about. We can't just say, oh my God, what was that? And go running and screaming. We gotta go figure out what's going on.
Right.
You
Right.
know, now, like, say, for instance, that Trans-Allegheny incident. If I wasn't chained
Mhm.
up and blindfolded, I've been up trying to figure out what's going on, what's making these noises, what's banging, what's this weird howling wind effect that's coming around in the area that I'm in.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, at that moment, I was chained up and blindfolded, so I wasn't able to do too much. But
All
so yeah,
right. A question from our chat room, Tim from Courtney says, "Do you remember the first EVP you captured? How have you evolved maybe personally, from when you first started to now?" Wow, that's depth. Go ahead.
okay.
Good
I think
questions,
one of the
Courtney
first
is.
EVPs I ever captured, we were at Randolph Asylum in Winchester, Indiana, and we were in the men's area in their common room,
Mm,
and we were just asking basic questions. Hey, this is one of our first investigations, and well, here at that location, what's the place like? Whatever, whatever. And then we were doing spurts, like 5, 10 minute spurts in an AVP session, and we played it back, and there's this angry male voice that tells us to get out.
hmm.
So that was probably the first one
That's a
we
good
ever
one. That's a
caught.
Well, that's a good first one to get, dude.
Yes, and man, we were all like, "Oh my God!" It just told us to get out. And of
Yeah.
course, we've been back there multiple times since then. And that place always gives us good EVPs or disembodied voices. There's a lady there on the second floor that loves to interact with me when I'm there. We've heard her voice with our own ears on multiple occasions.
Mhm.
And as far as evolving, um, I've just put in a lot of work, brother. I do a lot of investigations throughout the year. I mean, this year has been a little slow because my mother-in-law passed away back in March, and
Mhm.
we had
I'm sorry for your loss.
take care of thank you, brother, and take care of
I'm
that
sorry, dude.
situation. But
Mhm.
I normally do, I don't know, I'd say 40 to 55 investigations a year.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, I
You
get
get out
around.
there, dude.
Yes, I do. I travel a
Wow.
lot and put in a lot of work, and I think just being out there in the field and putting in the work It's evolved me because I've had more experiences. I've changed my techniques through the years as
Mm-hmm.
far as how I do things and what equipment I use and sometimes just keeping things simple and basic. You know, like
Yeah.
me and you can be having a conversation like we are now in a location,
Yeah.
and
But
sometimes the spirits just want to tune in to what we're doing
mm-hmm.
and talk to us. They might respond to something we're talking about. So sometimes if you keep it simple and you're not, you know, taunting the spirits or provoking them or
Right.
just coming at them with the same old routine,
Yeah.
they're more likely to respond to you. Because if you're coming to my house every day to ask me the same question, I'm gonna get tired of talking to you too.
Well, like
So sometimes,
challenge you, I demand you to do this, spirit,
right,
or
right,
do these, make all my stuff go off, and be a
exactly,
power trick. Like you're talking to people. They're just
yes,
people. They're like,
yes,
oh my god, there's a guy. It's just a person.
of course,
Honestly, when you boil down to it, I
yeah,
don't honestly not. I know there's like the rare possibility of being it something else. I think that's more rare than anybody else on this planet probably thinks it's rare.
right,
I would say to anybody like, oh my god, there's a demon in my house. Well, maybe not, but like in life, there are great people, right? There's like you have
right,
these wonderful visions of your grandmother, and you imagine her as being a beautiful angel and a beautiful. She was a beautiful soul when alive. She's probably a beautiful soul in death. And then like there was your grandfather who was a drunk and he beat people up and he was just an asshole. He's
right,
going to be an asshole in death too. He's going to be that
exactly.
same abusive douchebag. So I mean, why do you think people are going to change? They don't change
Yeah.
in life. Do you think they're going to change in death?
I've said that
I don't.
multiple times, brother. I
I don't.
agree with you 100% there.
I just can't. I can't jump on the whole Jesus religion. And if you do, that's fine. But
No,
I can't jump on and tie religion into this at all because I mean
yeah,
it's. I mean, there's so many different religions, and they all have their own
beliefs. Yeah,
ideas and beliefs of this. But then a lot of it, I think they have the same basic ideas. They just explained through a different
exactly.
perspective, I guess. But yeah, I wouldn't say. I don't like to say the D word all
Right.
that much because people like it's like sensationalizes things.
Yep.
No, I no. Don't get me wrong. I know a number of demonologists who they do beautiful things, and not all of it's like the Exorcist movie. You know, it's
Exactly.
like when you think
Exactly.
of it's not all involving like this house in Burrville. It's just I mean, it's just so many more things out there to I don't know.
I agree.
I digress, but it's I don't know this like this sensationalization that like people think that like oh my god you must have a blast going out there and investigating. I'm like well yeah it's fun and 'cause you get together with friends for the most part and you have a lot of time to talk and to catch up
Right.
and like even jokes start coming out and it's but it doesn't all happen like right there in that moment
Right.
and
Exactly.
people have come out with me before and like wow this is kind of boring. I'm like yes, this is kind of boring.
Yeah.
It's the whole process that's not kind of boring that keeps me coming back personally. So what are the
Exactly.
best EVPs? Some of your you talk about getting a lot of EVPs, having a lot of evidence. What are some of your best EVPs that you've ever
Um, Let me think of a couple.
other than the first one, the Get Out one? Other than that,
Me and a buddy of mine were at a an old jail here in Indiana, the
hmm
Blackford County Jail. It was just the two of us in the whole building,
hmm
and we were up in the females area, and up in this area, particular area, the guards would abuse the female inmates.
hmm yeah,
Uh, so my buddy asked, "Well, what do you think of me and Tim being in this area?" And we didn't hear it with our own ears. We caught it on the recorder.
hmm
There was a female that responded, screaming at us, "Get out!" Paused for a second, then said, "Now."
wow,
Yeah, I mean, and then if you would have heard the scream, I mean, it was just absolutely nuts. Um,
hmm
but like I said, we didn't hear it with our own ears. It was captured on recording. Another one was at Madison Seminary. I was up in the attic area. I can't remember what they call that area up there in the attic of Madison Seminary.
hmm
Well, anyway, they would chain women up to the beds up there, and the
Jesus,
staff would sexually abuse them and even knock some of them up. So they would force these women to have abortions up there,
oh boy,
and it wasn't. Again, I couldn't hear it with my own ears, But I had sat up there for a while, and I did an AVP session, and I left the recorder up there and went out to check with other teammates and go have a smoke or whatever. We come
Hmm.
back in, we go up and get the recorder, and we play it back. And at some point when I was up there asking questions about what the staff used to do to them,
Hmm.
um, and talking about them being forced to have abortions, there's this loud scream of pain, like just so loud and intense that came through as I was talking about those kind of particular situations.
Yeah.
Just I mean, a bone chilling scream like I've never heard before, brother. And
Yeah.
was it related to the questions I was asking? And I don't know, but it almost seemed like screams of a woman in pain from whatever kind of torture she was going through.
I absolutely 100% believe it. It's so much emotional damage to the mind done by trauma and rape and all that stuff and all that awful. I'm sure it sticks with the soul. I'm sure it sticks with the environment long
Yeah, I mean, but
afterwards.
literally, this EVP gave me shivers up and down my spine. When I
Yeah.
heard it, I was like, "Oh my God, that sounds like a woman screaming in pain." Yeah, I mean, it was bone chilling all the way down to the bone, brother.
And what's even better, it's so loud when you're listening to it
Yes,
afterwards, but then when during, it's like nobody heard that. Like, who was that? I've
and
had
see,
I've had like 40 recorders around and only catch it on
right,
two.
and see,
Where's
that's
the rest?
what I've always been fascinated by is electronic voice phenomenon. It's crazy how sometimes you'll only catch an EVP on a recorder,
Hmm.
or you might catch it on a video,
Right,
or you might hear a disembodied voice, but not catch it on the recorder or the video.
right,
Or sometimes you might have all three experiences at once. You might capture it on video, audio, and hear it with your own ears.
right.
It,
And
I
what do
don't
you?
get
How do you
that.
think they're able to do? Why do you think they're able to do or not do?
I'm still trying to figure that out, brother. I've been stuck on that for a few years now, trying to figure out how that is and why that happens. We were at another location. It was me and a buddy. We are just walking around in this area. We're asking. It's a female area, and we're asking.
Hmm.
He asked, "Do you want to hear a joke?" And on the video, we didn't hear it with our own ears at the time, so it wasn't a disembodied voice. It was a female that said, "Yeah, I do." She wanted to hear the joke, and I don't remember what the joke was.
Hmm.
Um, so anyway, we went, and that's all that came out of that EVP was, "Yeah, I do." She answered him that she wanted to hear the joke.
Hmm.
So the following few months later, we were back at that location, and I was with a few other of my teammates, and we were sitting in that same area of this building, and we had some devices set up down one side of the hallway. There's a second floor, and these steps that come up to the second floor, the last step before you get to that floor kind of makes a weird creaking noise when you step on it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So one of my teammates, Scott, seen what he thought was some kind of um, not an orb, but a light anatomy that came across the hallway there. And I'm looking down the hallway, and I got 360 view all around me. All I got to do is turn around. I can see everything that's going on around me. And out of nowhere, that last step creaked,
Hmm.
and I shushed everybody. I was like, "Shh, shh, shh.
Hmm.
Do you guys hear that?" And finally, everybody's like, "Yeah." Oh, I, don't know. I shushed everybody, and then we heard, "Sorry," a female voice say, "Sorry." So this female spirit was intelligent enough to know that we were trying to be quiet. She apologized for making a noise because I shushed her, which I wasn't trying to be mean to her. I was telling them to shush because
Yep.
did you guys hear this?
Hmm.
So eventually I was like, "Hey, did anybody else hear that?" And they're like, "Yeah, it was a female voice that said sorry." So we're all listening to our recorders. Everybody caught it on the recorder. Everybody caught it on the video. Everybody heard it with their own ears.
Yep.
But the crazy thing is, after getting back home and reviewing evidence and thinking, you know what, that voice sound kind of familiar. I played back that previous EBP from when my buddy asked, "Do you want to hear a joke?" And I would have to say it's 100% the same female both
Hmm.
times that interacted with us. The voice sounds the same clarity, same tone,
Oh,
everything.
That's wonderful. No,
So,
that's amazing. It's these experiences. I've had it myself for almost 2 decades. It's just it never gets boring. It never gets
right.
old.
Yeah,
It never stops saying like, "Holy shit, that was amazing." I never
exactly.
stop saying that. I mean, it doesn't happen everywhere I go, but
Right. Of course. Of
in a
course.
lot of places, like, "Holy shit, that was
Yeah.
pretty awesome."
Yeah.
Um, it's another controversial subject, Tim. Um, mediums. What do you say on mediums? Do you use them? Do you work with them? Do you have
Yeah,
any faith?
I've worked with a few, and I've been around a lot. I've been around some that I absolutely cold heart or honestly have the most faith in them.
Hmm. Yes.
My friend Kat Marie from Trinity Long Island Paranormal out in Long Island, New York.
Nice. Yeah.
I've been with her on multiple investigations where she's not even been to this location before, doesn't know anything about it.
Yep.
And she's been spot on about my experiences there,
Yep.
or she can pick up on things that I haven't even told her about as far as certain areas of the location. For instance, we were on the fourth floor uh, at one particular time, and if you ever been to Waverly, they got the inside
Not
hallway and
yet.
then they got the outside corridors. Well, we
Yep.
were on the outside corridors. From the outside corridors, you can't see what room's what from the outside. You have to be in the inside hallway to see what room number is what.
Yep.
And I had just been telling her about, yeah, we got to go check out this one room. It's on the fourth floor, and it's normally pretty active. And it was room 402 or 405, something like that. I don't remember. Uh, and I'm telling her about this room, but we're on the outside corridor, so
Mm.
she can't see what room's what and what number it is. And I didn't really know what the room looks like by just seeing it, you know. Um, but we're walking down the outside corridor, and every room looks the same for the most part. All of them are junk. You know, the windows are busted out. You know, the
Of
paint
course.
on
Yep.
off the walls. They got the same outside doors on every room for the most part.
Hmm.
And we're walking down the corridor trying to figure out which room is this room. And it's because it was a hot night and we were out there trying to get a little breeze off the corridor.
Hmm.
And she stopped. She's like, "This is the room right here, Tim." I'm like, "Well, how do you know?" "I just feel it." So we walk inside the room and go into the hallway and look at the number above the door. And sure enough, it's the room that I was speaking of.
Oh wow.
Um, she just, I don't know. I mean, and there's other things. We've done a lot of work up there in New York, and she's still consistently doing it up
Yeah.
in Mount Misery up in New York.
Yeah. I've
Her
heard
and
of that.
her and Courtney, the one that was jumped on here a little while ago,
Yeah, she's on here. Yep.
they've been working a missing persons case for quite a few years now.
Hmm.
And between the two of them, with Courtney's, I'm not going to say abilities, but with how she does things and Kat's abilities, they've been able to come up with a lot of great evidence about this missing person. Well, no, not missing person.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
this girl that had got raped and killed and thrown into the woods. I mean, this has
Jesus.
happened. I don't remember what years it was. I mean, it's
Yeah.
back in the 70s or 80s or something like that.
Yep.
And Kat has been able to get so much evidence um, by her experiences and her gifts and other, ways to help provide evidence. They've actually been in contact with the detectives on this case that it's still an unclosed case. It's not been
Hmm.
solved, and
Hmm.
have been working with detectives out there in Long Island or whatever little county Mount Misery's in. It might not be
Yep.
Long Island, but wherever police that are on that case, detectives, and have been able to give them some pretty decent evidence about what this guy looks like, his height, his weight, and other different things. Think,
1970s. Wow.
yeah, and
That's quite the
Courtney
cold case. That's awesome.
Courtney's been doing a lot of research and she's done a lot of stuff to find information about the case. She's done a lot of work because they're pretty sure, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a certain individual that they're pretty much sure. Hey, what's up, Todd? How you doing, brother? Uh, sure that this individual is the one that committed this murder, that raped this girl, and he just recently got out of prison. He was never officially
Uh,
charged with this girl's murder, but he had other sexual assault charges, I believe, over the
yeah.
years, but never had, you know, been identified as a suspect in that case.
That sucks.
Uh, and I
But
mean,
he's still alive. There's still a chance, right? There's still a
yes,
chance.
yes.
Yeah.
So they're still working strongly, coming up with different kinds of evidence. And you know what? What's crazy is the detectives are
Mm.
actually happy that they've come forward with these different pieces of information because it's
Yep.
actually been helpful with their case and brought them some insights in different areas to think, okay, this could be a possible suspect. So, I mean, they
That,
just they do amazing work. You know,
that's
they do
tremendous.
amazing
I
work.
never knew that. Courtney is one of my Get Haunted support team members who puts us up on their network. And
Yeah,
anytime
yeah,
we have trouble, hey, Courtney, I'm not connected. Or, hey, Courtney, this or that.
yeah.
And bam, they're Johnny on the spot with that shit. So I didn't know that. That's
Courtney is one of the most valued people I've ever met in the paranormal field. I've met her on a
wow.
couple of occasions. We've been friends for a few years now. I always call her that's my New York family. Her and Trinity Paranormal, that's my paranormal family in New York. We're really close. Um, just a wonderful individual. Always want to help out. Uh,
Yep.
she's a down to earth individual.
Yep.
She's not, overhyped or nor does she try to be someone she's not. She's just a wonderful individual and a great friend. And she's always there when I need someone to talk to, or we'll
Dude,
call each
she's
other and just
always
catch
there
up.
when I need help with the show. I need help
Yes.
with tech support because, like I said earlier, the internet versus Buddy is the internet is the clear winner every time. So when
Right.
I'm having, dude, they are so. I can't say enough about the people that Get Haunted. It's just a lovely, lovely network page
Yeah.
to be a part of.
Yeah.
And
For
Courtney's like
sure.
almost all of that. So yeah, she's great. I actually had an experience this weekend. I took a medium to I wanted to do like a series of experiments with mediums. I have a
Hmm.
medium. I've had her on the show like 3 or 4 times. She's done like tarot card readings that like everybody. I'll have guests, people that I know, family, come on,
Right.
and they'll get free readings, and even people I don't know, and everybody gets it's like, dude, wow, she was like really good. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, all right, I'll keep that in mind. So I've had this experiment in mind. I want to do it mediums. I'm gonna get a few of them and do it individually. So
Hmm.
I picked this woman up at her house. I blindfolded her, and we drove to this location. The location, I told her nothing about anything. I'm like, we're going somewhere, and I'm gonna have to blindfold you. I'm not a creep. I just want to I just
Right.
want to see. I just want to see what you'll pick up on. And I took her to the grounds of what used to be the lad school. It was opened as the Rhode Island School for the Feeble-Minded back in 1903, and
Okay.
it started off as like a nice eugenics project and turned into a holy horror hell when the state of Rhode Island dumped everything and everybody
Hmm.
there. And there were untold murders and stories of like graveyards in the backyard where all the everybody was buried. There were a few cases of there was a case of a couple kids going missing. One of them they
Love
found
it.
his part of his body in the swamp, and a bunch of other stuff. But we first got there. I took her blindfold off and we were walking around and she pulled me right into the woods. Why are we going in here? It's like going around this big circle around this big open lot. Pulled me right in the woods. She's like, she's like, there's a little boy in that pine forest. She's like, he wants me to go in through the swamp. I don't want to go through the swamp. He wants me to go over by those pine trees. Like, it's funny you mentioned that because this kid that went missing back in '56, he
Oh,
was
wow.
missing for 7 months.
Right.
He ran from the school allegedly, and they couldn't find him. And then, like in December of that year, they found his skull hanging from one of these fir trees, and they never found the rest of his body. And
Oh, wow.
they closed the case. They didn't investigate any further. They did nothing else. This is
Right.
like the secret off in the middle of nowhere. Exeter, Rhode Island, is like all woods.
Okay.
So she picked up
Wow.
on that. She picked up on like this. She picked up on so there's this next door to this whole complex. There's the Rhode Island Veteran Cemetery. It's this huge, beautiful
Hmm.
cemetery dedicated to all the veterans of Rhode Island. In the back of that, there's a Rhode Island Historical Cemetery, and
Hmm.
it's of the lad school. It's the patients and they're all like, they're nothing like any of the veterans' graves. They're all like homemade gravestones. It looks like people like actually chipped away, like people that lived there did this as like a craft project and made their friends stone. And they're all uneven, and some of them are spelled wrong.
Right.
But oh my god, it grabs your heart. But it's at the back of the cemetery. And as we're walking through the lad school, she kept saying, "I keep seeing a cemetery behind a cemetery, a cemetery." Like, I know what you're talking about. And I took her there. She's like, "This is it." And just some of the shit that she knew, though, man. It's like
Right.
not only that. I mean, about myself. I've done tarot readings with this woman. It's like she knows about like what I do for a living. Not like in detail. She knows about people I work with. She's warning me about people I work with. I'm like you're describing this person like to a T, like you know them and you don't even know me.
Right.
So it's just it's
Yeah.
it's so fascinating. I lost my wife in 2019. I've had people like intimately describe the last moments, the last few days of her life to me. It's like, how do you know that? She knows this and she's dead, and I know this, and I've
Mm,
never told anybody. So how do you know this? And you're a stranger.
exactly. Exactly.
Dude. It's just, it never. It's like one of those. It's just like every other moment in the paranormal.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my
It's
god,
another mystery that
it's
that we
another
can't
mystery,
explain.
right?
You know.
Right. So I want to do this with a few different mediums and see if they have like the same responses or the same. So yeah, just another paranormal investigation, I guess. I
Right.
can, another way to research this shit a little bit more.
There's
It's just.
another psychic that I'm pretty good friends with, and she's helped me out on a couple of private investigations in
Mhm,
homes. Her name's April Doucette. You probably know her from. She's from New Jersey.
mhm, mhm,
She's helped me out with a couple of different investigations with families that I've done private investigations for over the last couple of years,
mhm.
and and of course, it's just over the phone. She's in New Jersey, and I'll call her, April, I need your help. I got some clients that have some questions and they need
Yep.
some answers. And I'll call April, and we'll have it on speakerphone, and she'll talk with the client and explain to him what she feels like is going on in the home and who's there.
Mhm.
And if you could see some of the looks on these clients' faces when she starts talking about family members or, you know, friends or whatever's going on,
Yep.
and describes the individual and how she's seeing them, and as far as their behaviors or whatnot, and or she might see uh, how they were in their last moments of life. As far as
Mhm.
they might have had cancer, a heart attack, whatever.
Yep.
And she'll be spot on with this stuff, and people are just like, "Oh my God, how did you know that?"
Mhm.
You're not here at the location. We don't know you. Whatever, whatever. And then she's spot on. She used to. I don't know. I haven't seen her in a while. She does a lot of readings online. She used to do a lot of readings online.
Mhm.
She's very spiritual, brother. I have a lot of belief in April, and I think she's very talented.
Mhm.
I'm not even gonna say talented because that makes her seem like it's a gig or something. She's very good at what she does.
Yeah.
She knows how to read very well,
Yeah, and
and
the most minute details with these people. I had a residential case in Attleboro, Massachusetts, a number of years ago, and I do the research. I was a history major in college
Mhm.
when I was a kid, so I'm like I have a bachelor's of history, so in research. So I go up, I dig everything I can about the place and people who live there now, and people who live there in the past, and
Right.
everything included. Right. So this little house was built in like the 1870s in Attleboro, Massachusetts. Um, and it was originally a pig farm, and some of the, like, you go in the basement and that's where the guy would like gut the pigs, and he had some of the family, like they found this, like it was like a step up to a different room of the basement, and it was like the wood panel started to come off, and they were going to replace the panel. It's like this little strip, and they found a whole bunch of shit under it. It's like the gutting tools that were like old rags, like were covered in blood, just like all
Oh
sorts of
well,
shit. Yeah, they got rid of all that.
that's
But
enough.
we investigated there, we did the whole thing, and then I came back in with a medium. I'm like, just tell me what you think. Just tell me what you're picking up on. And we go through the whole house, and she's talking about different people that live there, and I'm like, okay, all right, all right. And then we go in the basement, and she's like, oh my god, oh my god. Like, what? What's wrong? She's like, oh my god, I'm seeing like horror. I'm like, what are you seeing? She's like, I'm seeing this man, and he's got like bodies hung up, and he's cutting them like from here down to the like down here. And she's pointing to like right above her groin. Oh my god, she's like disembodying it. And she's like, oh my god. And I'm like, all right, calm down. Before you think anything wrong with this, just focus a little bit. The
Hmm.
guy that you're seeing was a pig farmer, and this is where he gutted his pigs. Oh, but how she would know that? That took me months going through
Right.
probate records, going through like residential, just like it took
Yeah.
me a while to find this out. For her to walk in there and know this,
Right. Yeah.
this minute
It's
detail
phenomenal,
that's
man.
it's
Yeah, it's
phenomenal,
phenomenal
dude.
how the
It's
things they can pick
unbelievable.
up on.
It's
But
unbelievable.
but then like I said, you got I got a couple that I 100% believe in, and then there's ones that I come across like that are basics. Oh, it's there's there's a spirit. They'll give you the
Mhm.
most minor details to try to keep you intrigued in whatever their conversation is. And it's just like, well, I could tell you that there's a spirit. I mean, and
Mhm.
I'm not psychic at all. I'm not having some kind of experience or something in relation. Don't wait until something happens to act on it, and then give me some kind of response based on this action or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's just some of them just come off so cheesy, and you can just tell. Okay, come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have time. Don't waste my time, please. I mean,
Right.
if you can, you know,
Like
and
I've seen the schmucks on YouTube that like, oh my god, there's a demon here, and
oh God,
and they make themselves sick,
right,
and then they try and take your money at the end of the show. Like, no,
yeah,
this isn't.
yeah.
These
That's
aren't
the fucking
paranormal
deal.
investigators. These are scumbags.
Yeah,
Um,
yep,
yeah. So beware of the scumbags. So not everybody. I mean, I've heard of people charging for this. I would never dream to charge for this.
right.
I don't know who does. I don't know what they're charging for.
You know
I
what?
mean,
I,
maybe
I
that's money.
encourage
I don't know.
everybody in the field, people that I know, and you've probably seen me do before. I encourage everybody, hey, keep it real. If you're at a
Right.
location and you're having some experiences, share your experiences. But if there isn't shit going on, then
There
say
isn't shit
that
going on.
there's
Right.
nothing going on.
Right.
And even if I do think I got a good piece of evidence, I'm putting it out there as evidence, but I'm asking for opinions. Hey,
Yep.
what do you think about this? Give me your thoughts. What do you think could have been happening? Was this really a good paranormal experience, or was it something that we can logically explain?
We talk about
But
it a
I,
little bit.
I
Yeah.
encourage all the time, brother, because I see all the fake stuff on
Oh my god.
YouTube and videos and
It is
people who
all
how
over social media.
demons and keep it real about what you do, man. And if you can't keep it real, then what's the sense of doing it? I'm not out there trying to get a million fans by faking anything or hooting and holler or yelling demons or
Right.
running out screaming. I don't do that kind of shit,
Right.
and
Y-
it makes us look bad
Yeah.
as a
And it
field.
just discredits us as investigators.
Yes,
It
it
discredits the rest
does
of us.
because I take what I do seriously, and we got these you know weirdos out here doing all this other stuff, and it just makes us look bad as a community.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then people that meet us, that's what's always asked. Oh, hey, yeah, I've heard about you. Um, you do your challenges and this and that. Well, are they crazy? Well, I've had a couple good ones, but most of them are pretty quiet.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's crazy that you sit there chained up and blindfolded. It's like, well, yeah, it is. It's a little intense, and it can be a little uh, crazy at times. I've had a couple
Hmm.
real good crazy ones, but most of the time it's pretty quiet. There's nothing going on.
Yep.
Well, what's the craziest thing you've ever experienced? Have you, and there's one of my friends that her name's Sandra Hendricks,
Hmm.
and I hope she sees this because she's always telling me. She lives out in the Netherlands, and
Oh,
she tells me all the time, just one time, T Dog, I want to see you run on an investigation. I'm like, Sandra, you're not going to see that. I don't run. I mean, I can't guarantee it'll never happen, but it's gonna have to be something pretty crazy rushing at
yeah, right.
me. Something very intense for you to see me run. I don't run. If I do run, I'm running towards whatever is
Yeah, I
happening,
want to
or
know more. Right.
yes, I
Right.
don't run
I'm a fat kid. I don't
away.
run at all. So I hate it, dude.
Well, she teases
Um.
me all the time when I tell her I'm going somewhere. If I'm going to a prison, Brushy Mountain or something, she's like,
Yeah.
T Dog, I want to see you run. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. You ain't gonna see me
Oh,
run. I'm
hell
not
no.
running away.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
love this shit. I'm running to it. I'm not running away from it.
exactly.
I'm doing it
Exactly.
because I want to know more. I don't want to like get scared and run away. Then it
Exactly.
defeats the purpose of me spending multiple hours out there.
Exactly. Spend your
Right.
time, your money,
Yeah.
your time
Oh my god.
traveling there, and yeah, it's
Yep.
we put in a lot of work a lot of times for a little bit of evidence, or just for sometimes just the experience of being at that location. We don't
Hmm.
come home with any evidence or have any really crazy personal experiences. Well, we might have some minor experiences, but nothing that gets that excited. But and
Right.
I try to tell people sometimes that's the experience all by itself, having that time to travel to this location, experience the location, and I get to learn about the history of
Which is
that
cool.
location.
Hmm.
Sometimes you got to be satisfied with that, because if you can't take uh, a slow night and be happy about it, or get something out of that, then you might
Yep.
as well not do this, because it's like that a lot. We get a lot of quiet nights and spend a lot of time on the road, a lot of money out of our our pockets to go check out these locations and come home empty-handed. Sometimes it's just the way things are.
Right, for sure. You see it a lot now. A lot of these videos of these people that claim, "Oh my God, you got the devil in your house." Oh my God, that's a demon.
You know?
Like actually, that what you're seeing, what you're claiming is that orb is actually a reflection. If you look in the
Exactly.
vanity on the other side of the room, it's you
Right.
taking the picture, and that's a reflection of.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not a devil. Just
Yeah.
look, just take a minute. Or somebody sent me a photo, a video, just the other day. Like, dude, my shop is haunted. I'm like, how do you know? Well, all this stuff fell over. I'm like, okay, were you there for that? No, no, no. I was. It was closed. The thing was closed. Do you have cameras? Yeah, 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 yeah. Here's the footage, and they show me the footage. It's off camera, so you don't really see it even happening. You see
Right.
cars going by. It's on a main road. It's not a great road in West Warwick. It's and then you see. I'm like, what are you seeing there? You think it's a ghost? What do you think you're seeing? And she's
Hmm.
like, look at all these orbs. I'm like, oh yeah, this. You see all these orbs, just kind of like floating by. One will race by suddenly, and then like, dude, that's See how they're all going like in the same motion at like the same speed? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's like called airflow, and
Yeah.
this is called dust. This is
Yeah.
nothing at all negative. Maybe it's negative if you're a wicked clean freak because you as good as you can clean, you're never going to get all the dust away. This could be
Exactly.
particles. That thing racing by, that was probably a bug. Yeah, it's not a ghost. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
the shit people are just like they're dying to get something. They're dying to
Yeah.
believe, and
And,
they
and a
go
lot of times it's because of what they're seeing on TV or videos
yeah,
they watch. And
right,
I'm a firm believer that people overhype their own heads by,
yeah,
I'm not going to say not having any common sense, but they have issues with different kinds of fears.
yeah,
I'm not a very fearful person. There's not too much that I'm fearful of, but uh, a lot of society does
yeah,
have fears and is easily enables them to manipulate their own selves by providing fears on basic things that they can make sense of.
hmm,
And I've tried to again educate people about this kind of stuff. There was a client that we had in Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, for a couple of years, and we had been out to his location multiple times. And he claimed to have all these different experiences and things going on in his home. He had multiple cats around the home. The house smelled like urine.
yep,
Um, so that can cause, just different effects,
yeah,
with different things. Um, he had these weird poles of some kind of out on the outside of his house, on one side of his house, that were giving off high EMF signals. Um, and EMF can cause delusions and this and that and whatnot. And
yeah,
I
sure.
mean, there's just so many different things. And every time we would go there, I would try to help this guy understand this stuff. But no matter what I did, he would not understand. And
He
I'd keep
cannot get
trying to,
past that, right?
to help him debunk these things. And finally, he messaged me one night. He had one of those circle REM pods. It was sitting on his kitchen table, and it was going off like crazy. And he sends me this video, and he's FaceTiming me, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, or Facebook video, whatever. And I'm hearing something going on in the background. I'm like, well,
Hmm.
what's that noise in the background? Oh, that's the washer and dryer. I'm like, okay, well, how far is your REM pod away from this washer or dryer? And it's sitting on a wood table.
Yep.
It's literally 4 feet away from where the washer and dryer are, and they're
Nah.
both on and running, but the REM pod's going off like crazy.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to tell this man, it's picking up the vibration off your washer and dryer.
Yep.
You're so many feet away from it, and it's picking up the motion. It's the vibration, and it's vibrating the table, and it's making a REM pod go off. Oh no, it's not. It's not that. It's not that. I'm like, bro, if you can't make sense of why that REM pod's going off, then there's
Yep.
not much more I can do for you, brother. I got to tap out. I can't help you anymore
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
you're
Right.
not wanting to make sense of things that I'm trying to help you with.
Yeah,
And if you're that gullible, then there's, it's
you're blocking it out.
I,
Yeah, you can't. I can't
I
help.
got to step away from this. I've
Sorry.
wasted, I've invested my time traveling out here from Minneapolis to Dayton, Ohio, to come help you and your family.
Hmm.
And it's not, it's not getting me nowhere, brother. You're not understanding. You got it stuck in your head that this place is haunted, and
Yeah.
this and that and everything else is going on. And I feel bad for you
Mhm.
because you're so delusional and a little whacked in the head that
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't help you, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. Being myself, I've worked in mental illness for 24 years now at mental health, and I had members of my group that were licensed clinicians, and it's this mental health is definitely prevalent
Yes, it
more
is.
than the paranormal with some people, unfortunately, and you really that's why you really got to look into the people you investigate for, because they could be. I've been in. I did consulting work with a local demonologist, and he wanted me to come in and offer my like. Not that I'm licensed. No, I'm not licensed or anything, but I do recognize some
Right.
forms of mental illness, and he's like, just tell me what you think. I'm like, all right, sure. And I went in with one of my guys came with. He's like, oh, dude, I want to see this. I'm like, yeah, come on with me. And we're sitting with this guy, and she's crying, she's bawling the liver, she's telling us all her these horror stories. Like, oh, all right, this sounds pretty terrible. And then she's like, "You really got to come downstairs, though. That's where my son's room. I'll text him he's not home. All right, we can go down there. That's where all the good stuff happens." As soon
Mhm.
as we go down these stairs, she goes from this crying, helpless, 50-year-old woman to like Satan himself. Her voice changes like this, and she attacks the
Oh well.
demonologist that with. I almost went hands on with this woman, and then she let go of him, and she's like, I tried to pull. It was all an act the whole time, but it come to find out, the woman had just been released from a week prior from one of our local psychiatric hospitals, and we kind of get that
Crazy.
relayed. It's yeah, you got to really look at that stuff before you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's people that are really sick,
I've
honestly.
dealt with some crazy over the
Mhm.
years, man.
Oh yeah.
I had a guy from Terre Haute, Indiana, call me one time, and he's like, I found your number because we were offering our services and trying to help people out.
Of
And this
course.
guy randomly called me and was like, "Hey, my brother has a problem." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's your brother's problem?" He said, "Well, let me just let you talk to him, and he can explain it to you better."
Hmm.
So I'm like, "All right, put your brother on the phone." So his brother proceeds to tell me that he lives in his home and he's got multiple demons and entities running around his home, and he's shot up his whole house pretty much, and shot at the walls or trying to shoot whatever entities or demons are in his house. His walls are full of bullet holes
Oh
and
God.
knife holes and whatever else. I'm like, well, what seems to be a problem? Well, I got these entities and they're trying to kill me and I got to defend myself. He stated that when he goes to the bathroom and as he pulls his pants down, there's uh, bugs and stuff in his underwear. And I'm
Ooh.
like, okay, so and I mean, and he sounds off as a rocker, but I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And he keeps telling me about these different things that are going on and things that he's experienced, and when he's asleep, uh, there's something that's trying to probe him,
Yeah.
and all this different stuff. And finally, I'm like, okay, all right, well, I appreciate you talking with me. Talk to your brother and see what he has to say about some of this stuff.
Hmm.
So I get his brother back on the phone, and of course, he had heard this conversation that his brother uh,
Oh Jesus. Yeah.
given to me, and I'm like, so how would you like me to take care of this? He's like, well, can you come out and help us figure this out and this and that? I'm like, well, that probably wouldn't be in my expertise. I don't know what I could do for you. You might want to reach out to someone uh, in the medical field about this, and in mental health or something to help your brother out because I can't come out there to set up a camera to watch your brother's
Oh
ass,
hell.
to
Oh
watch your
hell no.
brother's ass. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, I can't
Hell
keep
no,
a
dude.
camera to watch your brother's ass and see if anything's going to probe him. I can't do it.
You
You
gotta
know.
like really. Yeah.
But I
You
had to say it in the most kindest
gotta
way
have
and figure out the
yeah.
best way to put it to this guy. I cannot come out there just to set up a camera to watch your brother his
Yeah.
ass all night. I can't do that.
Yeah. But being
Um,
here in Rhode Island, it's such a small state. We all know each other, so I always like if I run into something like that, I'm like, yeah, I can't help you, but this person might, and it's usually like a licensed professional that will
right.
ascertain the mental health. And it's so real to them, honestly. That I work with adults who have schizophrenia in a group home setting where they're trying to like transition from dependent to independent or semi-independent, and they're just some of the delusions that they come is like what, but it's like No, but it's like so real to
Yeah,
them.
for them, yeah,
They're terrified. So I mean, it's a
exactly.
very real thing. People aren't try not to make fun of people who are crazy and have
Right,
no. It's a real thing. It's a real illness.
exactly.
It's terrible. But speaking of the paranormal, before we wrap up, Tim,
Mhm.
I gotta ask you. So you mentioned a ton of places tonight. Maybe some of those places apply. But before we wrap up tonight, top three. If you could recommend the top most three active places that you've investigated in to anybody investigating here in the United States.
Oh
Top
man,
three.
that's a hard one. I've been to so many locations, brother.
I know. I know. The best. The best.
Well, I mean, as far as experiences, Trans Allegheny is definitely one of them, and
Yeah, that's
that
always on
place,
everybody's list.
I was so excited about going there, and it lived up to its name.
That's West Virginia. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Right.
way up in the mountains. I mean, trying to get there, and yeah, it was just a crazy experience altogether. Everything about that location and the trip there was just nuts.
That's great. That's
Trying to think. Well, I got a local jail up here in Indiana. That's I say is my home away from home. It's called the Old Lake County Sheriff's Office and Jail, and it's up in Crown Point, Indiana. It's actually the jail that John Dillinger escaped from back in 1934.
oh no shit, huh?
So it's
Nice.
got the best of both
Little
worlds because
history.
I'm
Yeah.
a big mobster and gangster guy, and I love the
Yeah.
paranormal. And it's got the best of both. And I've had some of the most craziest, not just me, my team, my son, um, the lady Sandy that is the head of the board there. The experiences I've had in that place have been like no other location. I mean, just
Mhm.
not necessarily that it happened to me, but I was there to witness these events or these you know things. So that's definitely on the top of my list.
Yeah.
Those are two, and I love prisons. I love
Yeah.
prisons.
So much
I'm not,
energy. So many experiences that happen. So much
yes,
human
yes,
emotion. Oh my god, it's got to be trapped there. It's got
yeah.
to be. Yeah, for sure.
I'm very big on prisons. I mean, I've been to Alcatraz, Ohio State Reformatory, Brushy Mountain Penitentiary, Missouri State Penitentiary, amongst probably a few more that I just can't think of because I'm on the spot at the moment. But
Mhm.
I love my prisons. But as far as another great location, God, there's so many of them.
Hmm.
Uh, I hate to leave any out.
Just one, Tim. Now it's just one you have to pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna say uh, the Broken Bow Asylum in Oklahoma.
Oh, I've
It's
never
no
heard of
lo-
that, but that's
it's no longer open now. There was a lady named Ashley that ran it for quite some time.
yes.
Um, it was pretty crazy. A bunch of us drove 10 hours to get out there. We stayed in a cabin. We had the place for the whole weekend,
Nice.
and it was just absolutely mind blowing. It was my first time seeing a full blown shadow figure move across a room with my own eyes. Um, and that
That's
experience
awesome.
was just absolutely just mind blowing to me
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I'd never experienced that before. And one of my good teammates from the Illinois chapter of Riverbend was with me when I seen it. We both seen it. It was just, I mean, the whole place was just so lit up, so many different things going on
Hmm.
throughout that weekend. Uh, that I mean, it really sticks with me. You know, certain moments in your career or you know during your
What you
time
do.
doing it, certain things that stick with you more, and
Hmm.
that's always stuck with me because up until
Yes.
that point, and that was probably 3 years ago now. That
Hmm.
was the first full bodied shadow figure, not apparition, but shadow figure that I've ever seen with my own eyes. And of
Yep.
course, we jumped up to go into the room to try to debunk it. You know, there was no windows that had any lights coming in. There was no one out walking outside or inside. It was just the two of us by ourselves, and we both witnessed this. I mean, the shadowless figure was just blacker than black. You know, it was
Yep.
blacker than the room. So that's always stuck with me. One intense location that keeps calling me back real quick is the Villisca Axe murder house.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that. Unfortunately, I'm from New England, so it's going to take me a little ways to get out that way. But
I've
yeah,
been there. I've been there a few times, and the energy in that house is just like any other location you ever been to, brother.
yeah,
Um, and if you go and visit with a family at the graveyard before going to the house,
yeah, that's going to add on to the
you
creepiness.
make this connection somehow,
Yep.
and when you get there, that connection turns into this vibe that you get of the tragedy and the things that have taken place in that house.
Right, and
And
it's a cold case still. It's
yes, yes,
no
after all these
justice,
years,
and
yes,
that will never be solved. That will never
and
be solved.
it's pretty intense.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I had one of my more notorious experiences that I've ever had at that location. But me and you will
Mhm.
have to talk about that some other time off air. I don't want to talk
Of
about that
course, of course.
on the live. But yeah, so yeah, Valiska is a place that I'd have to go back to on a few different occasions because it just calls me back because I don't know, it just got that vibe to it. It keeps
It's
calling you
got
back.
yeah,
It
right. It's
keeps
that
pulling you back.
yeah.
Trying to figure out what happened to the family, and we've come across a lot of good evidence from that
Mhm.
location. Um, so yeah, that's one location that we try to do at least once a year.
Well,
Go back and
so like I said, it's on my bucket list. Now, on your bucket list, places you haven't been to that you are would, if money wasn't no object, and you could go anywhere in this world to investigate anything, where would you
well,
go?
as far as uh, places, Alcatraz is on top of my list. I've been there
Mhm,
before, but it was on a tour,
mhm,
and the fun of that tour was they volunteered someone to go stay in solitary confinement.
mhm.
And of course, I was like, hell yeah, put me in.
Right, of
And
course.
they put me in a solitary confinement. And these solitary confinement cells have two doors. One is just a cell door that keeps you in the cell, and then the other one's that shuts you out from all the rest of the world.
Mhm.
And that was the darkest of any places I've ever been locked up in, and it was just so creepy as hell. So I'd love to have the opportunity to go investigate Alcatraz, not only for the paranormal, but again, I'm a big mafia.
Historically, the most yeah, the
Yeah,
mafia, the Al Capone
Al
was there.
Capone, the Birdman,
Birdman,
yeah,
yeah,
Bumpy
all that
Face
shit.
Johnson.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Whitey Bulger spent some time there.
Oh, my head from
Yeah,
Boston, my local guy.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah. Whitey Bulger spent some
Whitey,
time there.
nice.
So I'd love to go have the opportunity to investigate that place.
Yep.
Though it's probably unreal that I'll ever have that opportunity.
Mm.
Other than that, I'd like to go to Egypt and investigate the pyramids.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be very intriguing to go and talk
Old
to them.
world, very
Yeah, of
old world. Yeah,
course.
that's cool.
I've
Yep.
been overseas before and investigate the Mayan ruins in Belize,
Oh
and that
shit.
was okay. But the atmosphere didn't help with our investigation because there was too much contamination going on around us.
Right.
The winds and different being outside, and
Yep. Of course.
it didn't make it for a good investigation. But it was cool to have that experience at the
Yep.
Mayan ruins. So, well, yeah, man, yeah, I go.
One last for the bucket list.
Mhm.
One
Uh,
last for the bucket list.
bucket list. Okay. Trying to think of a good one.
Hmm.
Uh, that's
It's like so many in Europe that
oh yeah, you know what? I'd love to go to Japan and check out Suicide Forest or some
suicide
places out
forest.
there
Yep.
because I was born in Okinawa, Japan.
Oh no shit. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I was a military brat, so I lived there for a little
Oh.
time as I
Nice.
was born. I don't remember anything about it, but I've always wanted to go back out and check out the place I was born in.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
have a good friend that lives out there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, that's good.
she tells me all the time, Tim, if you want to come out, fly out here. You can stay with me. I'll feed you. I'll take you around to all the
Oh yeah.
locations.
Do it. Do it.
So I would like to go back and see where I was born at, and
Yeah.
also check out the paranormal stuff while I'm out
Yeah.
that way. So yeah, Okinawa, Japan.
Okinawa. Yeah.
I'd
A lot of history, a lot of culture out there. It's
yes,
I did a lot of great things I can say about Okinawa.
yes,
Um, I could spend another like 3 hours like chit chatting with the paranormal about the paranormal with you, Tim. I'll have
of
to
course.
have you back on sometime. It's always great to have other investigators on and hear how other people do things and how similar we are, even though we live on different ends of the country or
For
whatever. So
sure.
it's
For
always cool
sure,
to
brother.
explore other people's perspectives and whatnot. It's one of the best things about doing the show. I just get to talk about ghosts with other people. It's just wonderful. So love to have it back anytime. Anything that you do, do you like put stuff on YouTube or anywhere people can check you out if
I
they?
don't do anything on YouTube at all.
Okay, you're on
I
Facebook though.
yeah. Most of my interactions in the paranormal field either on Facebook or I do a little bit on TikTok. I'll present some
Yeah,
evidence
there
or
you go.
talk about locations that I'm going to or events that I'm attending or a part of. Um, like I said, I try not to overhype things because I want people to see that I'm out there putting in work and going to these locations,
Right.
but I don't overhype it to where it's going to be crazy, insane, guys. You got to watch me or whatever, whatever. So
Yeah.
most people know me from Facebook or TikTok. You
Yep.
know, I don't put a lot of stuff out there on YouTube or anything of that nature. Uh, I try to keep it simple. That way,
Yep.
people can see that I'm serious about what I do, and I'm not all
Yeah.
about the extra hype and all that stuff. So
Not everybody. Yeah. It's not all. It's not like the what you see on TV. This is not
exactly,
TV. This is just
exactly.
yeah. This is more real than that. Again, I want to thank you for coming on, Tim.
Well,
If you check out episode 6 of Three Dudes Brews, boys and girls, we're sure to uncrack that in the next couple of weeks. If you're a local, if you're from Rhode Island, spin on down to East Greenwich, go to Crafted Hope Brewery. They're really some great guys down there. They get to a lot of good beer. But one of the best beers, I think, maybe I have a little bit of bias, is the Three Dudes in a Brew. Beautiful, chocolatey, smooth, delicious porter. Very crushable beers. Yeah, that's all I got for you. For T Dog, Riverbend Paranormal, Tim Kummer. Tune in next week. We have Todd Bates. I've been Buddy Thayer. There's been the Ghost and the Go Dolphins. Sends up. Screw the Bills. Have a good week, folks.